Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm super excited to have you today. Today we're going to be talking about God as the master strategist. Now, I got this from the Lord when I was reading in Judges, and it was a really interesting verse I read that kind of gave you a glimpse into the mind of God and how He works with people and how He gets His will done here on earth. So let's just check that out. It's Judges chapter 14. Verse 1 through 4. Then Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah, one of the daughters of the Philistines. So he came back and told his father and mother, I saw a woman in Timnah, one of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me as a wife. Then his father and his mother said to him, Is there no woman among the daughters of your relatives or among our people, that you go to take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? But Samson said to his father, Get her for me, for she looks good to me. However, his father and mother did not know that it was of the Lord, for he was seeking an occasion against the Philistines. Now at that time, the Philistines were ruling over Israel. So as we can see here, it says that it was of the Lord for Samson to basically want a Philistine wife, because he was seeking occasion to come against the Philistines. So what he had to do was get Samson to get in this situation with this Philistine woman so that something would happen. I don't know if the Lord was involved in that process either, but he probably was, so that there would be some fighting between Samson and the Philistines to try to move Samson into that position that he was always supposed to be in. So, but it does give you an interesting glimpse that God can use someone even if they're not in their obedience, because He knows people that well. He can orchestrate situations that happen so that Samson would go down to see that Philistine woman, or do this or do that. And he does know that he will, and because the Lord knows Samson well enough, He knows that if he sees this Philistine woman, he's going to want to fall in love with her and all these things. So that's just a glimpse into God's mind in that situation. But there's other occasions in the Bible, because when I read this, I was like, there's other occasions in the Bible where the Lord does this. And if you watch that video, A Divine Setup, you'll know this next passage I'm about to read, which is Exodus chapter 14, verse 1 through 4. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Tell the sons of Israel to turn back and camp before Pi-Hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. You shall camp in front of Baal-zephon, opposite it, by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the sons of Israel, They are wandering aimlessly in the land. The wilderness has shut them in. Thus I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will chase after them. And I will be honored through Pharaoh and his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am Lord. And they did so. So from this passage, we can see that God was using the obedience of the Israelites to basically bait Pharaoh into coming out and fighting them in the wilderness, setting up the whole Red Sea moment. Now we see here another glimpse of God's strategy is to use His people in obedience to let His will be done and to glorify Himself on earth. We talked about this in, like I said, that last video, the Divine Setup. But here's just another example of God using people. So one, He can use them outside of obedience. He can use them in obedience, which is the best way. And then we have another way, which is using the spiritual forces to get His will done here on earth. And that's in 1 Kings chapter 22, 19 through 22. Micaiah said, Therefore hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on His throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by Him on His right and on His left. The Lord said, Who will entice Ahab to go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said this while another said that. Then a spirit came forward and stood before the Lord and said, I will entice him. The Lord said to him, How? And he said, I will go out and be a deceiving spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. Then he said, You are to entice him and also prevail. Go and do so. So we can see from this passage that basically there was a council in heaven, and God was saying, how are we going to basically get Ahab to go out and fight this battle that we know he's going to lose, because judgment needs to come on Ahab. And we get a glimpse into how heaven works, how God works, by seeing that basically God sent this deceiving spirit to go lie to Ahab's prophets, who were, obviously all going to be prophets of Baal, because they were the prophets of Jezebel. So they go to these prophets. Essentially, they deceive them by giving false information. Ahab then trusts them, goes out, and dies in the battle. Now, all of these things are important, and they shed light on God and how He works and His strategies. But if we can see here also that this gives us an understanding of what went down on the cross, because what went down on the cross was actually God's strategy as well. And we can find that in 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 8 reads, "The wisdom which none of the rulers of this age has understood, for if they had understood it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory." So even the cross of Christ was part of God's master strategy and plan for the redemption of humankind, by bringing His Son to die for us and pay for our sins, and giving us all these blessings and these benefits of knowing God, so that we could overcome the devil and overcome our slavery to sin. And that's basically the pinnacle of God's master strategy in the story of mankind. But I just wanted to share that with you guys, encourage you in the Word and in the Lord, and just let you know that you can tap into that strategy. The closer we get to God, the closer relationship we have with Him, the more we can listen to Him and move accordingly to His plans and His purposes that He has for our life. So I hope you're encouraged. If you are, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you want to partner with me in ministry, you can do that by sharing this link in this video to your family and friends. And also, if you wanted to sow into the ministry, you can do that by clicking the link down below in the description. Anyways, I hope to see you next time on the next video. Alright, bye-bye.